Getting ahead of the curve and staying informed on industry trends. That is the topic of today's conversation. Good morning, everybody, and welcome to today's morning coffee with Mike. How can you stay ahead of industry trends? Do you need to be tuning into the news and reading all of that? No, there's a much easier way. There's a more uh, truthful way that you can stay on top of industry trends that has absolutely nothing to do with you plunging into the narrative of the day, whatever the news, NBC, Fox, or uh, whatever internet platform you need to go look on, or even to see, well, what happens to be trending at the time. Uh, as far as trading goes, I'm going to share with you my personal process for how I go about identifying trends, staying ahead of trends, and to show you precisely how uh, that has resulted in some pretty good success. I'm going to give you the granular details on how to do all these things. The steps that we're going to cover today are going to include how to build a universe list. I'm going to share you my personal universe list. Uh, how to pull groups from your universe to the very top of the list, the ones that are performing the best, how to find groups that are rapidly improving, how to flag those leaders, and how to find the leaders within the leading groups. That's what we're interested in. And the beauty of this exercise is that, again, you don't need to listen to the news or pay attention to the media or any of that stuff. What you're doing is actively watching the actions of people. So, you know how it's very easy to say one thing, but do another? What we want to do is not listen to what people say, although you're welcome to do so, but more importantly, to watch what they actually do. So, without further ado, let's dive into the charts. So, the first chart that I'm bringing up over here, right, the first screening tool actually, is a tool that I like to use called MarketSmith. Now, MarketSmith is an amazing tool. I like MarketSmith quite a bit. And well, we happen to be looking at right now is a chart of Super Microcomputer, and Super Microcomputer actually came up uh, a couple of weeks ago as one of the leaders, and it's been a leader for a long period of time. This process helped me find Supermicro when it was way down here, right? And let me put my mouse down over here. So way down there. And it also helped me find it as it was pulling back and bouncing just last week. So, phase one, building your universe. How do we do that? The way that I build my universe list is by running a series of weekly screens. And the weekly screens that I want run in MarketSmith are all here. There's screens that I've run to find what I consider to be sector leaders, and I'll show you some of the criteria for that. That's all right here. Basically looking for stocks that are already in top rated groups, looking for stocks that are in that have earnings per share percentage change that are greater than last quarter, 25% greater than last quarter, that are greater than last year, that are greater than a year ago, to see this kind of extraordinary earnings growth. The reason why I'm so interested in earnings growth is because when stocks exhibit strong earnings growth quarter over quarter over quarter, it's hard to keep those kinds of stocks down. Those kinds of stocks eventually turn up and go. If they continue to perform, they will perform, right? In the beginning, it's possible that some stocks have just sales, some of them will just have earnings, maybe some of them just have projections, but eventually it needs to show up in their actual earnings. And the market is a forward looking mechanism. So if we see projections and we see earnings and we see sales, eventually those things will show up in the market. So I start by screening for all these kinds of things. And there's other things that I'm screening for here, like stocks that have accelerating earnings and sales, recent IPOs that have earnings, recent IPOs that already have sales. And you can see all these things here, super earnings growth. That's mine to say that if it has at least 50% earnings growth over the last quarter. And if it's been accelerating for the past 3 quarters, that is extraordinary growth. Most stocks don't have that. In fact, for this particular screen, you can see right now, there's only 20 stocks that pass that screen. It's important to have tight screens. The reason why it's important to have tight screens is because historically, again, stocks that have extraordinary earnings, extraordinary sales, projections, those are the stocks that have historically gone on to make some of the biggest moves. Sure, there's stocks that don't have those qualities that have gone on, but when you look historically at which ones tend to dominate and have those large moves, it's the ones that have extraordinary earnings, extraordinary sales, extraordinary projections. Great. So if we can build a list that focuses on just those, that's going to increase our odds of success exponentially. And so the next thing that I do, right? So I'll take all that and I will put all that into what I call a universe list. So I run all those screens and I put all those stocks into a universe list. Right now, we scroll all the way to the bottom of this list. There is 329 stocks on this list. So from a universe, right, from an entire market that had close to 10,000 stocks in it, I've already narrowed it down to just 330. Now, from this list, right, where we're looking for leaders and we're looking for leaders of leaders, we want the best. So what I'll do, next step here, right, you're getting a lot of great information in this. Make sure that if you do have questions, put the questions into the chat and I'll answer questions at the end. But what I'll do from this list is I will grab the top 20 industry groups. You see how there's all these titles up here at the top, all these subsections here. So I'm want to take the industry group and I want to take all the stocks that are in the top 20 industry groups and I will bring that over to a special list. We'll view that list shortly. The next thing that I want to do is look at the rest of the list and if there is stocks that are in groups that are rapidly improving. For example, here's a group that is improving, jump from 31 to 21. That's a nice improvement. I want to take a look at those. Then we'll go a little bit further down the list here. See if we could find any others here. This is a decent jump from 87, right? Put it a little bit higher on the list so that way the Instagram folks can see it. From 87 to 71, that's a big jump. So let me explain quickly why that even matters. So it matters because if an industry, the way that the big players work, the big players of your major hedge funds, mutual funds, pension funds, the guys that are moving around billions of dollars, they're not just going to all pile into one stock or even a couple of stocks. They'll likely buy an entire group or they'll look for several leaders within a certain group. Great. So if they're buying several stocks within a group, that's when you start to see the group start to rapidly improve, just like how we saw with some of these stocks in the machine group, jumping from a group rank of 87 to 71, right? 16 ranking jump, that's pretty significant. So when we understand that the major players that are moving around billions, they can't just do it all in one shot. It's going to take them several days, several weeks, even several months to do this. Then what they will do, or what it should trigger to us, is that, oh, this is a group that is beginning to emerge. Let's keep an eye on these stocks and let's start to look for potential setups in these stocks. Great. So let's come back over here. I do see your question, Yeti Shark. We'll get to that in a second. If we do come over to this list here, what I like to do is to pull out all of the stocks from that universe list, and I've got them all here in a special list that I call sector leaders, and this is a list that I share out each week uh, with people in our elite program. And what I'll do is I will take all those stocks, right? Like you just saw the machine group. I'll go through this whole list, and what I'll do then is I will look for the leaders within each one of those groups, right? Some of them have multiple leaders each week. What defines a leader? What defines a leader is the stock making fresh highs? Is the stock having its relative strength line move into fresh highs? Both of those things are very important. And the reason why is because both of those things point towards leadership. That's not the only thing. It doesn't end there. We are now at, that was step three. That was step three. So far, we've spoken about three steps. The three steps that we've spoken about so far are: number one, building a universe list. Number two, pulling out the top groups and rapidly improving groups. Number three, we just saw all those highlighted ones, flagging the leading stocks among the leading and rapidly improving groups. And now number four, this is number four in your four-step process to track this actively. That's going to point you towards not just the leading groups, but the leaders within those groups, and be able to see when trends are emerging. The fourth step is to track the leaders and buying them as they set up. So here is some more charts, right? Bring TradingView over here. Put this back up. Okay, so we've got a chart up here, SMCI. There's a few different annotations on it. The annotation that I want to draw your attention to is this right here, where it says SL. In this instance, SL stands for sector leader. So it fit the criteria that we were talking about earlier. So it fit the that criteria here, here, and over here. Sector leader, leader of leaders. You want to be in the leader of leaders because those are the ones that are going to give you some of the biggest moves. Great. So as a stock like SMCI was consolidating and pulling back to its 21 EMA and tightening up, I'm able to buy in just as it's turning out and breaking out and getting a quick 17% move so far on the stock. That is how you catch leaders. Why? Once again, because you already know that it is a top stock because it is passing all these different screens over here. You already know that it is a sector leader because it's in a top industry group. And the price action is not just confirming 1 week, but it confirmed multiple weeks, as we have highlighted over here, over there, and over there. And then you could monitor the price action for those types of pullbacks and then buy them as they are breaking out. And that, my friends, is how you go about finding trends, how you go about finding emerging trends and the leaders within those trends. What questions do you guys have? The first question that I saw came up from Yeti Shark over here on YouTube. Let's see. Consumer discretionary names should be jumping up. So, building has been some of them. Let's see. Let's come over here and take a look at some other names. So, this week, what has been leading? Computer's been leading, software's been leading, chips, internet, more software, some auto, top ranked industry groups. This is just how the groups are all there based on performance. So let's see. Telecom building has been huge. So many stocks setting up in building, not just setting up, but also leading. Let's take a look at the charts. Let's bring uh, this back down here. Right, turn this onto a weekly time frame. Right, so this is INQ. Go down a few because this is still in the same order. And the Weave. Look how many times Weave showed up on the sector leaders list. Right. This is a fantastic way to not only identify stocks, but as they pull back, to have extra awareness of the pullbacks. Hey, this is a leader. It's pulling back. Maybe it's done. Maybe it's not. It's part of where, learning how to take asymmetrical reward to risk. There's always going to be a risk component, but it's the asymmetric side that gives you a 40% gain in a few weeks. Let's take a look at some of the building stocks. Yeah, they've been there. They've been there for a long period of time. What other questions do we have? Question from Goel. Can you tell how a new person starts if he trades in the Indian market? The way that any new person should start out, whether they are trading Indian market, US market, crypto, whatever, should first be to focus on mindset. What is mindset? Is mindset just your beliefs and FOMO and making sure that you don't get all nutsy in a trade? No, that's part of it, but it's certainly not all of it. What mindset is your beliefs. Mindset is your beliefs and your belief system. So, well, what in the heck does that mean? We all have beliefs about trading. We have beliefs about money. We have beliefs about ourselves. Our beliefs and our goals are linked, right? So why are you getting involved in trading? Well, you want to make a bunch of money. Okay, great. So what are some of your thoughts about money? Oh, well, money is very hard to come by. I have this job. I've been working. I just graduated school and I'm making a little bit of money here. I like to go out on the weekends and I'm worried that if I put money into the market that I might lose it all. If you have that kind of mindset, those kinds of beliefs, those kinds of fears, how effective do you think that your trading is going to be? Do you think that when a stock starts to run that you'll get really excited? If Do you think that if the stock starts to fall that you might get really afraid and take your money out and maybe throw a rule book out the window? What beliefs do you have about trading? Beliefs are also the things that like you have your rules, you have your edge. What is the mechanism that after trading many times, let's say you have 100 trades, what is the mechanism that is going to ensure that after 100 trades, you come out ahead? All that is all tied to beliefs. That's why I wrote this book, The Trading Mind Wheel, because I didn't have a blueprint when I first started. Even 10 years in. 10 years in, I started to find people, I started to find good books that actually pointed me in the right direction. However, even those books didn't have the full blueprint that one needs to really gain success in the market. None of the books talked about all the skills that you're going to need. They focused on a specific skill, maybe one, two, some even three skills that you need, but none of them mapped out the entire process of everything that you're going to need to learn in order to become successful. That's where the trading mind wheel comes into play. So if you haven't read it yet, I would suggest go picking up a copy, reading this book. It's relatively quick read. There's only about 240 pages, I believe, in here, and check it out. That would be my advice to whether you are a new trader in the Indian market, in the US market, or any market for that matter. Let's see, what other questions do you have? Question from Luis. Why are most leaders on MarketSmith already extended? How can we catch them sooner? The way that you can catch them the way that you could catch them now is what we just spoke about with continuing to monitor industry groups, continuing to monitor sectors, because when you have the leaders flagged and you are continuously monitoring which sectors are not just leading, but also which ones are making jumps, then that's part of what's going to clue you into okay, there's some movement here. And if I flip this screen around, and we go down to the bottom, this here, the infrastructure, right? Sterling, Power, Clean Harbors. The group ranks on this is not great. The group rank on this is 71, but you can see that it's already starting to lead. Perhaps this will be a leading group in the future. But if we start to see which ones are leaders now, that's part of how you could jump on board early. And it's also part of how you can be aware of when the leaders pull back. And we come up here, right? Oh, and there's Upstart again. Remember Upstart? It was a big talking point a year or two ago. But when you find ones like SMCI and uh, which one was down here? Yeah, well, like TDC, NVIDIA, and you start to see that, oh, this has been flagged so many different times, then that's something that when it does pull back, perhaps you want to use that as an opportunity to hop on board or to look for a low risk entry point. Hopefully that helps. Let me know if there is a follow up question. Humblest Vibes. Yes, there is an audio copy available of both the Trading Mind Wheel. You could get that on Amazon. There's also an audio book version available if you go to audiobooks.com. I also believe that it is on Apple, the Apple Books. So you could really get this anywhere. Wiley is a fantastic publisher and great at getting the book out everywhere. So go grab a copy. Well, what is the roadmap of a trader? How to start and what to do and what not to do? Yeah, I outline everything in this book. That again, I struggled for 10 years before I finally gained any kind of traction in my trading at all. And it was largely because I was making so many mistakes, so many of the mindset mistakes, poor set of beliefs. I talk about it all in this book. And not just the mistakes, talk about what actually worked and the results that it produced. That it not only produced for me personally, but produced for clients and also produced while I was still trading part time. I think that that's an important thing too. Most people start out there; they're already professionals, and they're talking from that professional perspective. Everything in this book can be done part time. Bruce, welcome to the live stream. Bruce Smith, everybody. Welcome, welcome. Any other questions? We've already been going for 25 minutes here. We will not be in tomorrow. Tomorrow is July 4th, Independence Day here in the States. I will be spending time with the family, with the in laws, and doing some fireworks across the street. Maybe I'll post that over on Instagram. Well, we have a big firework community here in Massapequa, and uh, we'll be setting some off tomorrow. So if you follow me on Instagram, you'll probably get to see some of that. But it looks like that will be it for today. Yep. All right. So thank you all for joining me today. I'll see you back here on Friday. Ah, Bruce, you got the last second question in here. Okay. Uh Bruce's question. What are the bigger influences for you, Mike? The technical or the fundamentals? I start with by screening for fundamentals. And that's really the only time that fundamentals are a factor. 99%, well, not 99%. I'd say that it's probably fair to say that 90% of what I'm doing is based off of the technicals. But I start out by screening for fundamentals, just like how we spoke about at the beginning of the show. At the beginning of the show, I shared how I screen for stocks. I have a tool called MarketSmith, and I screen for them. Uh, I'm in no way affiliated with MarketSmith. They just offer a fantastic tool that I've been using for many years at this point. So I will screen for fundamentals so that way I could focus on the stocks that have historically proven or the qualities that have historically proven to lead to dramatic outperformance. From there, I'm looking for technical setups and I will manage the trades based on technicals and based on my own performance. What does that mean? That means that if I'm in a market environment where I'm only getting, say, 5% gains, 6% gains, 7% gains, then I will take my gains quicker than another market environment like what we're in now, where many stocks are running far further 15, 20%. Great. When you're in that kind of environment, you want to let your stocks go. You want to let them run a bit further. When you're in a very choppy environment, then that's when you want to take your gains quicker. So, thanks again for tuning in. I appreciate you guys being here. If you have not already subscribed to the channel, make sure that you are subscribed on YouTube, Facebook, wherever it is that you're watching. Make sure that you subscribe, and check out MarrowWealth.com while you're at it, because we are posting more and more free content on there, more and more free downloads, more tools. Go check it all out at MaraWealth.com. I'll see you back here on Friday. Until then, happy 4th, everybody, and have a great rest of your week. Take care. Much love. Peace out, everybody.